This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffmann, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffmann.
Welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffmann. Today is Wednesday, September the 11th, 2024. It's Patriots Day. Thank you for joining us here today. A little later on in the program, we're going to take a look at the closing markets. But first, let's kick things off with a chance to visit with Chris Dillard of Solinftec to talk about their autonomous sprayers and the new docking station that they're bringing forward. We'll get a little bit of a glimpse of what we had to talk about right now. So you're standing next to the new piece of equipment that you're talking about right now, and that's your docking station for the Solinftec technology. We've talked about in the past about how the the machines work. Tell us about this docking station and what that's going to mean for those who are using this technology.
Yeah, so one of the things with our autonomous sprayers that we put into fields, it doesn't carry a lot of product. It's a lightweight machine, it's solar powered, and we spend some time refilling the tanks. Over the years, we've had a lot of questions from people about putting bigger tanks on the units, and we've never went down that path, and there's a strategic reason behind that. We knew in the pipeline something that we were always working on was our docking station, and that really uncorks the power that our Solix robots have and the ability to do work in the field. What I mean by that is, today when our robots need to be refilled, they send a notification to one of our teammates who go out to the field and refill the robots. The docking station, by contrast, gives the unit the ability to auto-service itself, auto-refill. It drives up to the dock. There's a coupling system on here. This is a multi-axis coupling unit. It reaches out to the machine. They dock each other, and fluid is pumped from the docking station into the robot.
All right, and so we're seeing it next to a small tank right now, obviously for example, but what kind of volume is this thing, capacity is this going to have for being out in the field?
It's a modular system. We can use multiple totes with it. So in theory, we could even envision a future where the robot has the ability to select from different products available as it comes up to it. It may see in the field grasses or broadleafs or even insect problems, or a future where there's even fungus detected, and the robot needs to address those issues in timely manner. Given those types of scenarios, we can envision a future with multiple totes. The unit comes up, can clean the tanks, grab the right product, and go back out to the field. It's very modular.
That way it's able to kind of see and adapt and see the problems and helps the farmer out. So actually, I know the question's probably going to come from farmers is to how do we have control over a machine? Because autonomy, great. It's great that we have the machines doing it for us, but how do we maintain that control that it's not getting carried away with what it's doing out there?
Of course. These types of machines are always an ask and then respond type of scenario. And all of that happens through the phone, the mobile device. The units notify anytime they come to a stop, anytime they need to be refilled, anytime a new weed or disease or insect is identified. That gives the operator the ability to execute based on their decisions, given the right circumstances. That said, something that is kind of interesting that I'll throw into the equation is at the software layer itself, users have the ability to also add guardrails to our robots. So if rain is in the forecast or the wind conditions aren't favorable, the operator has the ability to say, I want it to only operate after X amount of hours since the last rain, or if wind is greater than 3 mile an hour, less than 10 mile an hour. It's very configurable. It gives the user a lot of options in how the machines operate in fields.
All right. And maybe remind our producers here that are watching, first of all, what is the capacity of one of these units and what it can haul and how often it's going to have to refill?
40 gallons on board the robots, and the frequency by which they need to be refilled completely depends on how many weeds are in the field. These robots use target spray technology, which means we only spray on the weeds as they are seen in the field. So a 40-gallon system may go across 200 acres. It may only go 10 acres. We don't know because we can never predict that. Right. This type of system gives a new way for these units to exist in fields and really reduces some of the limitations our customers have experienced up to this point.
That again was Chris Dillard of Solinftec. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, we'll take a look at the closing markets with Kenan Laden of agmarket.net. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. We're back on Ag Matters PM, and it's time to run down the closing markets, and we're visiting right now with Kenan Laden of agmarket.net. Ken, what did we see head out of that grain market today?
Yeah, higher on the day in the grains, which is good news. Headed into the WASDE. I guess tomorrow will be the real test of what the market's going to do going forward here. But corn closed slightly higher. Soybeans and wheat were up 3 to 5 cents, depending on the contract, coming off of their highs of the day towards the end of trade.
So, I mean, do we have any idea what we think the WASDE might say? I know it's always a toss-up, but what kind of things are we thinking it might look like?
Yeah, I always say you can't handicap the USDA, but the analysts do put their guesses out, and the market does trade expectations. So, the soybean yield is projected to be slightly higher. We're really looking at production in this report, and then the corn yield might drop a little bit. However, no huge aggressive cuts, looking at analyst expectations for this report.
Now, of course, we know this will be the last one before we actually probably get really heavy into the harvest here into, in the Midwest. I mean, does that stuff start to change when we start looking at October, or is it going to be a little bit later before those numbers start to get factored in?
Yeah, I think that's September 30th. Stocks and usage report will be really big because we'll be in the swing of harvest here. And, so going forward here, yeah, exactly like you said, we'll get some more concrete numbers. Again, this is the first WASDE too, where they're actually, pulling farmers and doing infield surveys. So that sometimes causes some of these production numbers to change from where they were previously. So why this report in September here is always something to pay attention to.
All right. And then over to the livestock side of things, I know cattle and hogs were searching for a little bit of direction yesterday. Is that what continued again today?
Yeah, hogs were closed higher today, so kind of stopped that downtrend slide, and cattle were higher again today. They haven't breached any of those August high prices that they had, but, some good market action there.
Now, the way it sounded, at least in the cash cattle trade, that they weren't expecting a whole lot of change or any fireworks this week. Is that still kind of what we've been seeing indicated? I know cash cattle trade probably hasn't gotten too crazy yet as of today.
Not from anything I've read. So, cash hasn't deviated too much. Yeah, and we'll just have to see how this economy keeps chugging along. Got the positive fundamentals in cattle, but we'll have to make sure that people keep buying beef. And, keep supporting those prices.
Outside of the WASDE in both grain and livestock, I mean, are we looking at any other possible movers that we're kind of keeping our eyes on right now?
Yeah, I would say that the equities market and, that CPI came out today kind of in line with expectations. PPI comes out tomorrow. And then, the Fed is going to have their meeting here this month. And the market is really looking for some rate cuts, pricing them in. How much rate cut is coming? Is there going to be a hawkish or dovish Fed? That kind of plays into the markets. The cattle market is especially correlated with, the indexes. So something to watch here this week and kind of see how it's going to affect the trade here moving forward.
All right, Kenan, if folks want to talk with all of you at agmarket.net, get some ideas of what works for their operation, works for their investment needs and sales, how do they get in touch?
Yeah, you can check us out on the web at agmarket.net. And in closing today, just remember that today is the anniversary of September 11th. So something to think about and remember.
That again was Kenan Laden of agmarket.net. Let's take a look at those closing numbers for you. December corn was up 3/4 at $4.05 even. November soybeans up 3.5 at $10.75. Soy meal up $2.90 at $3.1620. Soy oil down 53 cents at $39.76. Chicago wheat up a nickel at $5.79 1/4. Kansas wheat up 4 1/4 at $5.88 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat up 6.5 at $6.16 1/2. Oats down 1/4 cent at $3.67 1/4. Live cattle were up 57 cents at 176.90. Feeders up $2.12 at 240.60. Lean hogs up $1.12 at 79.67. Pork cutouts on change at 91.55. And Class 3 milk up 4 cents at 23.15. And that's been the Ag Market Recap, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel. While you're here, click that bell icon and subscribe, and you can be notified each time we put out a new video project. You can also find out about our free 3 times a day market podcast with analysis sent during the openings, middays, and closings every day through the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network podcasts. Learn more at iowaagnet.com. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Hoffmann. For Andy Peterson, Mark Magnuson, and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.